Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jason. So Coach Brown is the head tennis coach at University of Montana, an amazing Division I program located in Missoula. They compete in the Big Sky Conference. I've personally known Jason for quite a few years now. We started networking over 4 years ago. That's when I first met him. And then I think it was about 3 years ago was when you signed our first recruit, Milo Benn, for tennis. And
yeah, he's here. So yeah,
yeah,
just about three. Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it was crazy how we got Milo signed with you because, you know, in New Zealand, our schooling year goes from January or February to about November, December. And, you know, at the end of Milo's senior year, he decided that, you know, he didn't want to go to America. He wanted to study in New Zealand. And I think he was contemplating on starting law, and he registered for classes, and he got there and he said in April, you know, I don't want to be in New Zealand. I want to go to America. And I said, okay, you want to go to America in 4 months? I'll try my best. And did a video quick as we could, got a CV together, and I sent it to you. And I remember you said, I want to talk to him. And literally within like 24 hours, we had a conversation with Milo and yourself. And Milo's next thing, he's packing his bags, going to Missoula.
Have him sign somewhere else and the program like got dropped or something odd happened? Because I remember our it was very last minute, but I think you did better work than that. I think you had him signed before I came into the picture, and something happened. But yeah, it worked out really well, and you know, I felt confident in you know, everything you were saying to me, but also the fact that, you know, great kid, you know, was an easy fit for me. I generally go, I've been doing this just long enough that I go with like sort of what I sense out of someone, and yeah, and it was correct. Great kid from a nice family, and yeah, he melded in with our team culture very well, high achiever, and yeah, it's been good. And then we've stayed in contact ever since. I don't think that there's not too many weeks, and definitely not a month that goes by that we don't like volley something back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just going back to what happened to Milo. So I won't name the university or the coach, but he signed with so in April of the year that he wanted to go to college, he signed with a Division I program, and it was all locked in, but then they lost some funding. And because of that, his contract got terminated. And so I think we're sitting in like June, July, and he wanted to go in August. And that's when I reached out to you on Facebook, and I was like, do you need a guy? Because I've got one. And you said, actually, I do. And, you know, the greatest thing about working with Coach Brown is how quickly the process moves. You know, I work with coaches where I have a conversation with a coach about an athlete, and then it's like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you don't hear back from them. With you, I heard back as soon as I sent a message, you know, within an hour, you had gotten back to me. And that's what I really appreciate you, is that you're very transparent. You're very black and white with the process that you want to go through. And if the athlete isn't the right fit for you, you are like more than happy to be like, these are some other programs I suggest that might be a good fit. And I totally respect that.
Yeah, I think that, you know, my love of college tennis is I'm not the perfect coach for everyone, and players aren't necessarily going to be the fit for our program. There's a lot of great places in the US to go. And some coaches want to pretend that they have some school that, oh, if you go anywhere else, you're a fool. No, there's a lot of great places and a lot of great coaches. You know, and then I think for you, you know, what you've done a nice job of is developing this network of different guys that, you know, maybe I'm not going to have enough scholarship money, or maybe, you know, our roster's already full. And yeah, and I feel like that, you know, well, your friend Ollie as well. You know,
shout out.
We bounce players back and forth between each other all the time as well, you know, at Boise State, and he's doing an amazing job on the recruiting front. And, you know, yeah, I think just continuing to foster a relationship with a lot of coaches who have like that same mindset, a love of the sport, and wanting student athletes to be happy in whatever program they land in. So, yeah.
I guess, like I always tell athletes, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you've got a lot of friends in this game, they will help you out. And it goes both ways. Like I get, you know, coaches contacting me saying, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about this girl? And like they rely on my reference of that athlete that determines like if they're going to pursue them or not. And, you know, I have to be very honest with you guys as well. And the great thing I like about you, Jason, is that sometimes I'd say, hey, what do you think about this program? And you might be like, oh, I don't know. We might need to have another chat about that program. Let me just find out some more info. And you're not like impulsive about it. You don't just move it off your table really quick just to free up your day. Like you really invest your time in helping. So I really appreciate that. So,
well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I think there's a spot too that if I put my stamp on something, I want to like actually, put some research and know for a fact that I want my stamp to be a gold star, not to be like, oh, well, I didn't really know. I just thought it was fine. I want it to be, a concrete. If I say it's great, it's going to be a good fit for someone. And, I'm going to be wrong too occasionally, but it's not going to be without some due diligence. And I feel like you operate the same way,
Oh, for sure.
Get invested in the kids and what your student athletes are going to be like when they come to the US. Yeah. Because you haven't always told me everybody is, A+. You'll be like, well, this is what you're going to have an issue here, or you might have to work here. And it's good to know. I mean, the honesty, like the transparency is where it's all at for all of us.
Absolutely. Whether it's an athlete that, struggles academically or falls in love very quickly, but,
Sure, of course. Yeah. Both can be fun to navigate around on occasion, but,
that's an inside joke between me and Jason, by the way. But getting back to you. All right. So you're at University of Montana. You're the head coach. How did you get there? How did you get that role?
So I took a really interesting path into college tennis because I had spent a lot of years out of tennis. I played tennis in college and worked as a teaching professional for a while, and then segued into sort of business side of things, and was away from college tennis for a long time. And they built a new indoor facility in Missoula, and I was like, I hadn't picked up a racket forever, and I started hitting with a bunch of ex University of Montana players and some current players, and just fell back in love with the sport. And I think it only took a year or two, and I started as an assistant coach here at Montana in a volunteer role, just saying, hey, however I can help. And if it's a job you do for free, it really, is something you're passionate. Yeah. And it just, we had a lot of success as on the sort of mid-major front, winning the conference, making a bunch of conference finals, falling inside the top 3, inside the Big Sky every year, basically. And sort of segued nicely into getting offered the head coaching position. I'm just starting my 5th year, and I love this job. I would actually pay to do this job. I don't work at all anymore. I can't get enough of it. So I feel very blessed, and have been really blessed with some amazing student athletes who also love tennis and love the University of Montana, love being in Missoula. It's a great spot in the world. It's a little unknown, and in some ways we kind of like that. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful spot to get to coach from. So
Awesome. And for those that have never been to Missoula before in Montana, what's it like?
So we're about not quite 100,000 people inside a mountain valley, a big wide mountain valley together. River runs right by campus. Our campus has been here since the late 1800s. So a lot of beautiful brick buildings. We've got 9 outdoor tennis courts that are right in the heart of campus. Beautiful setting to practice. And the nice thing about Missoula is we're the only show. There's no professional sports in Montana. So being a Grizz athlete is I don't care if you're playing women's soccer or running track or, on the American football team, then you're really a star. But if you're wearing the Grizz or University of Montana and you're walking around town, you're a bit of a celebrity here, which is always kind of fun. And then you double that up if you have an accent, and then it's just over. Then you're almost signing autographs a lot. It's a pretty cool experience that you're not an afterthought when you come here. You really do get treated special, especially not only by the people inside the university system, but just the town itself is University of Montana crazy. In fact, the whole state is. So it's a special thing for a student athlete to get to be a part of.
A few athletes told me that Missoula is a little bit like Queenstown in New Zealand, which is, they've got these beautiful mountains. It's like the destination to go to when you arrive in New Zealand. And it's beautiful in the summer. And yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of, you'll see people fly fishing, right? Like literally from the banks of campus. Yeah. It's got tons of outdoor activity. There's deer running through, you can be out into the wilderness in about 2 minutes. So it's it's got a lot of nice things about a small city. So we have a lot of the amenities, but we don't have virtually zero crime. No, you're safe everywhere. As far as the place for an international student athlete to land, I haven't had anyone who hasn't felt at home right away here, because people are incredibly friendly, especially and very interested in sort of the opposite of like the East Coast of the US, where people are more confined to themselves. And here people want to know if when you come to visit, I promise you're going to get stopped by, every girl you meet wondering where you're from and how long you're here, and excited about having people visit Montana, because a lot of people are really proud of this place, especially, I grew up in Montana. So it's how you feel about New Zealand. It's special to you in ways that people only understand if they're from here. So yeah, I feel very blessed to get to coach here.
It's going back to the whole Milo Benn, the student athlete that's currently playing men's tennis. That's one of our recruits. When he was heading to University of Montana for the first time, because he went with his parents, it was so like helping Milo get a scholarship was a big thing. I've known Milo since he was a youngster, since he was like 13, 12 years old. And just seen him grow and develop, and just go up and down with results, and really peak at the top end, where he's, taking sets off guys that are representing New Zealand and doubles and stuff. So it was great. And then to get him to sign with that first Division I school, and then for that to fall through, and to see the look on his face, it killed me. I was so disappointed. And then, when we got the opportunity with you, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's lock this in. We are going, let's go. So the parents are going over a little bit nervous. They got there and they phoned me and they said, Umrit, this place is ridiculous. It is so amazing and incredible. The people here are so nice. Definitely seen other kids there. And for me, I was like, yes, that is awesome.
You find it too, because it's one of the big things when I talk when I'm recruiting student athletes, is all the coaches sound the same. They really do. We all say, and I'm guilty of this too. Oh, my school's great, and my guys are great, and the team's doing well, and we're, but I really think and I'm giving away a hidden secret that coaches are probably not going to like me to say, is I let my guys do a lot of the recruiting.
Yeah.
In that I'll just say, hey, call anyone on the roster and talk to them about what life is like here. And coaches who have something to hide will never do that. They'll say, oh, call this student athlete specifically. But I just say, pick one. Pick a kid who's
some liquid gold, man.
Yeah. And see what they think, how they feel they're treated, how they feel the facilities are, how they feel about whatever, the shoes they get, and how the strength training staff treats them, or the athletic training staff when they're injured, or, I can tell you I'm a super nice guy, but it doesn't mean much. But when my student athletes in a private phone conversation, they're going to tell the truth. There's no, and I like that. That sells the University of Montana, and it sells any program a lot better in my mind.
I've actually got a story. I was in New York. I won't name this coach because he's quite a big coach, a big deal. But I was in New York because my little brother, Ajit, he was playing in the Junior US Open one year. And he was at that time, he was about 65 ITF. So enough for coaches to be like, we want you to come play college tennis on our team.
Oh, absolutely. Basically any program in the nation, for sure.
Yeah. And so we had a lot of interest, and we met with a few coaches. Now, my dad's a tennis coach. He's crazy about tennis, and that's what he does. My mum has got a PhD in psychology. She is a super academic, very, very intelligent, the best at what she does in the country. And so I had to try find a balance for my parents, which has strong tennis, good, that can develop my little brother, and has got really strong academics to sort out my mum, make sure she's happy, and because you don't want to upset my mother. Okay, number one, you don't want to upset Mother Rai.
Absolutely, number one.
And we met with this particular university that was very good, and the coach was amazing. Like, he recruited really well. At the end of the meeting, he got up, he gave my mum a hug, he shook my hand, walked away from the meeting. My mum looked at me and goes, "Yep, that's where your brother's going." And I said, "Well, hold on, let me just call a few of my mates." So I phoned a friend of mine that was like one of the top players in the country from New Zealand, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about this university?" And he said, "Mate, do not send your little brother there." I said, "Why is that?" And he told me the story that had happened, and it shocked me. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I phoned two other people and they confirmed it. And I was like, if I didn't talk to those guys, I wouldn't have known about that, because at the end of the day, like, coaches try to recruit. And what I like about you is that you're so, like, you stand back and then you just let, like, as you said, you let your players talk, you let them talk to other people, other coaches. And I really appreciate that.
Well, I think that there's so many coaches who get like that, really good at the recruiting side, but you need someone who's seen you, lose a heartbreaking conference match 4-3 and then see how a coach responds, how they treat their players, how they act, when you're, in stressful situations or things don't go your way. Those are the times that get to test people's true character. And obviously your players or your coworkers, they're the ones who can see what the truth is, with some real clarity and speak to it. So yeah, it's nice.
Absolutely.
It's nice that, I mean, it's easy for me because I love this. So then it makes it's not,
Yeah.
it's not, I don't get, I'm not holding my breath and one day I'm going to not be happy doing this. It's like, I can't see not doing anything but this. So it's nice.
Athletes arriving at University of Montana have told me that your facilities are absolutely incredible. I've seen them on, looking at pictures online, some stuff on YouTube. But what's it like for people that are listening to this for the first time that have no idea?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think that we have nice facilities relatively, because we're not, I mean, we are a mid-major. We're not, when you talk about Power 5 schools, and that's not what we are. And there's we sort of have a different idea throughout with development. And there's not this incredible pressure to win from day one. And and a lot of these kids go to really big Power 5 schools. If they aren't in the lineup, they're in the transfer portal. And, my idea here at Montana is we bring freshmen in, we develop them. We, maybe sorry about that.
No, you're good.
And we're in it for the long term. We're not in it they don't have to show up and dominate from day one, because I'm not going to lose my job. Yeah. We're doing all the right things. So our facilities are nice. We've got 9 outdoor courts on the heart of campus, like I said. And then the jewel for our athletics is they just built about a $16 million training facility that is right next door to the tennis courts. I would say it rivals any facility in the NCAA as far as place to get stronger, get faster, really, really develop your athletic potential off the court. So that side of things, I think it's its 4th year operating, and just fantastic place to get to train. And speaking to Milo, I mean, like, I guess he hasn't been home for a bit, but he came here a skinny little Kiwi, and he's scary strong. I mean, it's a place that you can really, really develop that athletic potential. And it's, we're blessed to have that. And then we play at a local club for our indoors. That's about 10-minute drive from campus, but it's pristine. And we really enjoy it there. And it's actually really nice to get to interact with community tennis members on a daily basis. And it develops a lot of Grizz tennis fans. They have vested interests in our players, know a lot about them, want to speak to them. And our guys are really friendly and nice about that. And it works really well. It's sort of win-win that we get to play, not in this isolated environment where we, don't see anyone else. So, and they treat us really well there too. So we're blessed. I have zero complaints about sort of the structure of things for us. And and it stands up to almost any other mid-major program for sure.
I mean, I guess anything that we have here in New Zealand, You guys have got better. So, I mean,
Well,
you should honestly, like, I've been to some of the best sporting institutes here in New Zealand, and there's the scale of sport in the States is so much bigger than the scale of sports here in New Zealand. And I mean, I've got friends that play rugby in professional teams here that get training in the best environments we have here in New Zealand. And I've been to the States on some tours and I've seen it, and it's been absolutely incredible.
yeah, I mean, I think we got to give credit where credit is due, but American football, like NCAA football and then NCAA basketball really like sort of drives the athletic train in the US. So I mean, I don't think they spent $16 million to make sure the tennis players were strong. It might've been to make sure all the linemen in the football team were strong, but we get the benefit. So, I make sure to go give the football staff a fist bump about once a week and say, thanks for having this great place for us to use as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice too, because, and this is the case through a lot of the US, but like, this is a facility that's only open to 200 odd student athletes.
Yeah.
It's not a public facility. No one else can go in there. It's really just a special place where Grizz athletes can all be together. And from a tennis standpoint, it's really nice when you're looking at, some of these kids on the track team who are just absolute specimens, and they really inspire you to work it a little bit extra harder on your fitness, because being the strongest, fastest tennis player probably, doesn't equate as much as the strongest, fastest football player or person on the soccer pitch or whatnot. So it's good. I think the teams inspire each other.
A lot of players that you have on your team, do they have aspirations of hitting the Futures Tour, getting an ATP point, etc.?
Yeah, so that's changed a bit for us. Almost exclusively now, and this is a transition probably over the last, since we've known each other over the last 4 or 5 years, is the vast majority of my recruits now do have pro aspirations. Yep. A lot of time they have just what you said, realistic pro aspirations. I want to make the top 200 in doubles, or I want to get an ATP point, or I want to spend a year on the Futures Tour and just test it. Most of the guys know. It feels with the internet and even things like this, there's enough information out there that where you fit in, and not to put a cap on how good you can get, because I think that's my job, is we just figure out how good you can get. We get 4 years of great training and equipment and competition, and we see how good you can get. And if we get a player as close to their potential as possible, that's absolute victory. But yeah, I think we're getting a lot more players coming in who say, what do we want to do? What's your tennis goals? And almost all of them say, I'd like to spend some time on the pro tour. And for me, that adds a real quality to the seriousness of their undertaking in the sport, which is good, but I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, for me, it's more important. My real question, and I ask it overtly, but I also really ask some probing questions on how much do you love this sport? Because that's where it's got to come from. There's got to be this, it can't be work. It's got to be come from this, and we have a bunch of tennis nerds on this team. We talk Challenger Tour. We talk every aspect of tennis from every conference and every player and who's ranked here. And every day it's just tennis breakdown 101. So it's great.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. What's your experience dealing with professional tennis players?
Oh, I've had a pretty interesting journey, almost on accident. So I guess when I'm about 2 years into, I started a little analytics company, doing some scouting and data analysis, and it's made me a lot better college coach. But I got the pleasure of starting to work almost unintentionally for Grigor Dimitrov in 2019. And the first tournament I worked with him on, he made the semifinals of the US Open and beat Roger Federer. And so it sort of launched into this great relationship. And it's since I've worked with a bunch of other pros here and there off and on. But he's sort of maintained as my main focus and my main client. And I think it's taught me a lot about not only the statistical side of tennis, but what it takes to be a great coach, and the seriousness that those guys at the top of the game take their job. I mean, outside of maybe an outlier like Nick Kyrgios or someone who does it his own way, these guys are they live, recovery, train, fuel, sleep, meditate, walk, hit again, recover. Their life revolved around that. And it's fun for me to sort of implement that into the college game a little bit, to say, hey, you have pro aspirations, you've got to cut some things out that might be distracting you. I did laugh too in when that very first started. I might have told you this story at one point, but I flew out for the semifinals of the U.S. Open after Grigor beat Federer, and I came back after the weekend of hanging out there, and spent a bunch of time obviously on the grounds of the Open, and everyone on my team paid like extra close attention. All of a sudden, I was a genius. Everything I said, they were locked in on every word. The week before, I wasn't nearly as smart, and all of a sudden, and I mean, nothing had really changed other than a little bit of stars in their eyes, and it's been a fun journey. And the guys, of course, are always rooting for Grigor, and he's a great guy, so it's easy. Yeah. It's easy that way, but it's we've had a good time, like watching his matches and breaking them down together as a team and doing some fun things on that side of things. So. It's my main focus, but that's such a cool sideline thing to get to do and learn and explore more about this game, because it feels like it's a beautifully simple game, but with levels of complication that really make it something that I could never get tired of.
I first knew about you working with Grigor Dimitrov when I was phoning you about a recruit. And you're like, I've got to go. I'll call you back in 2 minutes. I was like, why? And you're like, Grigor's calling me. I'm like, Grigor? Who's Grigor? And you're like, Dimitrov. I work with him. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's funny too with, there's been a little bit, and it's not anything that this is probably the most public forum I've talked about it. Because I think even the top guys don't talk about like having analytics work. It's kind of under wraps most of the time, but word kind of spread. And so I've had a lot more people come to me like, hey, is this true? I think I'd like to come to Montana. And I always laugh about it. Like, well, don't think I'm some sort of genius here, because I'm not, but I'm constantly working to get better and smarter and become a better coach. So just one to be able to do it.
When you surround yourself with good people, like there's some things that you just can't learn with a textbook, right? There's things that you learn with experiences, and you're working with great coaches. Christian Groh, who works with my brother.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, who's worked with your brother quite a bit when he was working with Grigor. Yeah, and I pick his brain. It's crazy. He's a great guy, and I pick his brain all the time on stuff, on what we look for in players and what's important from a coaching standpoint. And just having people to talk to on the pro level, or some facilitating some really nice relationships in the college game. And I think some of these college coaches are just incredible. There's some really, really sharp guys in college, because I think that there's a glamour to working in pro tennis, and I've got 2 young sons, or fairly young sons, and a wife here, and this is my home, and there was some talk of me going on the pro tour a little bit to coach. And just, this college tennis is such a great gig. I mean, you're home a lot. You get to spend time with family. You're not living out of a suitcase, 9 months of the year, which sounds great until you're, 6 weeks in it and missing your bed and your dog. So,
absolutely.
So I think that that's why that U.S. college tennis now is definitely the conduit to the pro tour. I mean, with people maturing later, coming and getting this incredible free, like effectively free training and equipment, and getting great competition. And you get a real good idea, even at the mid-major level, if pro tennis is in your future. If you come to the University of Montana and you're dominating the Big Sky and you're winning all your matches at one, there's some answers. But if you're 500 at number 6, I hope you're doing doing well in school, because pro tennis might not be the answer, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Fun to figure. I mean, you can still have an amazing experience either way.
In terms of like red flags, you've mentioned that, you know, you encourage your boys and your team to, you know, do some of the recruiting as well and network with different athletes coming in. What are some red flags for you that are sort of like, oh, I'm not going to go that direction with that athlete?
Oh, this is great. What a great question. I just spoke with our academic advisor about this, and I'll tell you, like, this is almost unequivocal. If you have a student athlete and either they're really poor at responding or taking care of sort of academic business or business within signing, that's one red flag. But the even bigger one, the like giant red flag, is when I have emailed a potential student athlete and I get a response from their mom or their dad saying, "Oh, I'll take care of this." Like, there is no possible way you're going to move halfway around the globe if your mom is still like answering your emails and taking care of your, you know, and I've like literally have a 1-to-1 ratio with guys that I have a great kid who's going to be a sophomore from Germany, and it fits well with what you said about me earlier. Like, I'll message him, say, "Hey, you need to take care of this." And 22 minutes later, he'll say, I'll get a message back, say, "Done, thanks." And I'm like, the task I gave you took 21 minutes to do. Like you literally got on it immediately and then responded with it being done. And then when they come here, it's just immediate success.
It's easy.
They get straight A's. They don't have any issues. You know, we have a team group chat, and I'll put in like, "Hey, this needs to be taken care of by the end of the day, no later." And it's usually within the hour. And it's, you know, when you operate that way, but it starts from the top. I have to operate that way too. You know, I can't be the guy like responding 3 days later, like, "Hey, I have to be the same way," and put those high expectations on student athletes. And then the red flags kind of go away. No one's waving. They're not there to be waved. So that's a big one, honestly, is if parents are doing your academic work, or your work about getting into school, is a real big one. Response time. We take care of the things we're interested in this life. You know, I mean, I was excited to talk to you. You said, "Hey, can we do this?" Yes. And we got it scheduled immediately. You know, I mean, it's just the way it works. And because I'm interested in this, and I was excited to talk to you, and it shows. And I think that's probably one of the big ones. Love of tennis, like I spoke about, is big. A lot of times, and I don't know if a lot of coaches do this. This might be another secret I'm giving away, but I let my team decide a lot of times with players, because they'll know better than I possibly can. So if Milo says a Kiwi kid isn't not a good kid, or he has a bad reputation of cheating in tennis, or, you know, any of those are all red flags, obviously, but I let my guys sort of speak to that as well.
And this is why I tell athletes, there are eyes on you.
Oh,
when
always.
you step on court, when you're 15 years old, even if you are not sure about going to college, you're going to create some sort of, you know, feedback in a positive or negative way. And you want to make sure that it's always in a positive way. You want to treat people with respect. You want to treat coaches with respect. You don't want to pick fights with people at tournaments. Yes, matches get heated sometimes, but you want to be very respectful after the match. Be like, "Hey, man, look, it's all good." You don't want to cause any problems, because athletes, not just coaches, athletes can also take scholarships away from you.
Oh, 100%. And sometimes deservedly so. But yeah, you're writing a story. Your tennis career, no matter how serious you take it or not, is writing a story, and you don't know who's going to pick that story up and read it. And it gets more views than people think. And it goes the other way too. It's not all negative. There's guys, we've had plenty of guys here who maybe have been on the fence talent wise, or, you know, it's close, or maybe they need a little bit more scholarship money than their level probably speaks to. And you'll have someone from their home country or someone who played him in an ITF and say, no, this is a great guy. I played doubles with him when we were 14, you know, is just a great human. He'd be a perfect fit culturally here. The next thing you know, they're wearing maroon and silver because, you know, and the guys they know better than we possibly can, because just like the coach who was recruiting your brother, everybody can put on a good show when they make a video or they make a recruiting call. They can, you know, comb their hair extra nice and be super polite. But, you know, when they're playing some random ITF and they don't think anybody's watching, and they still behave well, and maybe they get cheated on match point and they still walk up and say, you know, tough match or whatever, and or look their opponent in the eye and take the classy road. It shows up. I know you believe this too, but I just think doing the right things repeatedly, you get what you deserve after a while.
Oh, totally. And you know what you said about the response time, just going back a couple of points early in this chat, you said that, the response time of the athlete really shows who they are. And, if they don't respond to you quick enough, then you're going to be thinking, how much do they really want this? And I guess it's like, if you get a job at an international, insurance company, it's massive, and you're getting 100 grand a year as a salary, and the boss says you got a meeting at 11 a.m. and you don't turn up at 11 a.m. Of course, you're going to get a warning. And then if you do it again, you're going to get fired. In college tennis, it's very the same. Like if a coach says, I want to schedule a call with you at this time, and you miss it because you forget, coaches will move on. They will move on.
The one I always use with the guys is, it'd fit well with you. If Margot Robbie texts you and says, hey, you want to go on a date this Saturday, how long are you going to wait to respond? You're going to wait. Oh, sorry. Of course it's going to be important. And you're going to be like, absolutely. Can we make it Friday? It's not going to be one of those things like, oh, I mean, your actions speak to what's important to you. And it keeps a well-oiled machine this way that no one has to guess. And, and from a coach's standpoint, like I said, I have to do this too. And I have to show up and, I pick up every student athlete from the airport, I drop them off every time, 4 a.m. It doesn't matter because they're important to me. And I want to show them that they're important to me. They're like, oh no, coach, I can get an Uber. Like, I don't want you in an Uber. What if the Uber doesn't show? You're going home for Christmas. It's important you're on that flight in plenty of time. And, then we get the 15-minute drive to the airport to bond and talk about what's their plans and hopefully that they're going to hit some tennis balls over break. And, and I think those are the things where it's not just the athlete's responsibility to show up in these endeavors. It's the coach's responsibility too. And athletes can figure out if the coach is in it for the paycheck or if they're in it for sort of the love of the game and the development of their players as well. And it shows up pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In terms of tournaments, like, you got the fall and the spring season, what sort of a day for you guys? You mentioned that you got courts in the middle of campus. Do the boys have the same schedule, or are they slightly different where some athletes might have a private or like a one-on-one session with you? How does that work?
Oh yeah. So we usually double, like guys will do, everyone usually does at least one individual a week. We practice 6 days a week as a team. My personal belief is we go really intensely and don't drag tennis out. I want you to want more. And a lot of times the guys, if they don't have like lifting or conditioning after a practice, they almost all stay and play more because I want practice to end and you want to hit more, not practice to end and you're like, thank God it's finally done. I like sometimes they're like, hey, and obviously you can always stay and play more, but I want it to be, that you want a little bit more. I can't, I tell this to everyone I recruit, I can't physically or emotionally say no, because it would haunt me. So if you say, if you're playing tennis here and you say, hey, I need a 5 a.m. because I really need to work on my return to serve, I'll pick you up at 4:45. Let's go. Like, I can never say no. I have to get that work in with them. And I like that. The guys like it too, that they know they always have access to more training. We've been blessed here too with a lot of great, I've had a really good assistant, but also I've had a bunch of ex-players come back for random different reasons. We had one come back for COVID. He was working in New York City and he came back. He moved back to Missoula for a year to help, was the volunteer coach for a year and worked remote. And then, he'd graduated in 2017 and he could still, played one for us. So he could still beat about half the team. So it was great to have another body out there, who isn't, that far removed from college tennis, telling these guys, this is what you have to do to succeed. So a typical day, 90 minutes to 2 hours of training. We lift or condition about 4 days a week. Usually I'm a believer in practicing in the afternoons. I can, no matter how early in the morning you tell a college kid you're going to practice, Do you think they're going to bed at 9? Absolutely not. It's still midnight.
Yeah.
They're still on Instagram at midnight before they go to bed, no matter how early. So sleep is incredibly important for recovery and injury prevention. It's like in my mind, the one legal, the legal performance enhancer is sleep.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So I don't think it enhances your toughness being tired. I mean, I think it just means you're tired and your practice is going to probably be subpar. So most of our stuff is in the afternoon. Fall season, usually get everybody about 4 fall tournaments.
Yeah. You got a Boise State, right? Boise State's one of your guys.
Go to Boise, go to Gonzaga, usually University of Utah. We'll have a regional event, and there's actually a local tournament we play here in Missoula, and those are real kind of grindy in the fall.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the guys are getting 5, 6+ matches over the course of 2 days or 2.5 days. Yeah. And you see some, you get in the Suburban on the drive home, and it's not, everyone's just passed out. It's like just everyone's dead and sore. And and then the fall we play a real nice schedule of some Power 5 schools and a lot of mid majors around our sort of the whole Western US. And another recruiting piece I say here is, if you go to school in Southern California, you usually leave your dorm room, get in the van, drive to your match, drive back home, sleep in your dorm room, because there's a million schools in the East Coast and the West Coast that you can play. Well, here we've got some space. We've got some space in the US West. Yep. So we typically travel to nine states every season.
Yeah.
So you get to see all of the West, which is kind of a cool exploration versus just getting to see North Carolina and South Carolina repeatedly.
That's
awesome. If that's where you go to school, which is, there's some good things about that as well. Some 6-hour car rides once in a while get a little monotonous, but it's a good time to bond.
That's awesome. That's so cool. In terms of road trips with athletes, do you have is there certain 2 things when you go away on a road trip and you're playing in events at a different university? If the drive is very long, do you end up staying there overnight and instead of coming all the way back? Like if it's 6 hours one way?
Oh, for us, always. In fact, we always go the night before.
Perfect.
So we'll always, without a doubt, will 100%, especially if it's like a dual match.
Yeah.
Well, actually, even if it's a fall tournament, we'll go the night before, train at the facility wherever we're going to play, get checked into the hotel. And then even if the match, say we play a fall event and the last matches end Sunday night, we'll stay Sunday night and come home Monday and drive home during the day, safer. And, everybody gets to rest and maybe, jump in an ice bath in their hotel room and get recovered a little bit better that way. And all of that, it's always safety first, but it's always performance hand in hand with safety. So you're going to play a lot better. I would never expect someone to drive even an hour and try to get out of the car and play their best tennis. It's much better to have a good night's sleep, wake up a lot of times, get a good, hour long hit in the morning before, and then we'll go back in the afternoon for the hour warm up. It's the level of professionalism is, I think, the most shocking thing, at least in our program. The level of professionalism that goes into the athletics, and when we take competition, how seriously we take competitions. It's not rolling up to the park with maybe a half full water bottle, and maybe a towel. It's, your bag is packed. We're doing really structured warm-ups and really taking, we're not leaving anything to chance as far as performance goes.
Yeah. Awesome. And the second part of my question was, when they do go on these trips, they're not like a normal student where they're on campus studying full-time, they're away. Do they get any extensions on assignments, or is there any academic support there that your athletes get access to?
Absolutely. So we have an academic advisor just for our tennis team, and she laughs that I think our team GPA is like 3.8 or something. So everybody gets straight A's. So it's really easy. She's like, you make my job really easy. But yeah, so we provide letters to all the professors. So any absences are excused. Generally, I occasionally will proctor a test on the road, but for the most part, they're pretty flexible with take the test early, take the test late, if that comes up. And they have if there is problems in a class, we've got incredible academic services to make sure that our student athletes have every chance to succeed, because, we treat what they're doing as the job. It's their job. They're getting paid in scholarship dollars. And we want to, just like, you want to give your employees every chance to succeed. We want to give ours every chance to succeed too, and work together for that. So yeah. And our guys are really, they study on the road together, help each other out. A lot of business majors on men's tennis. So they, work together a lot with projects and making sure that they kind of, help each other succeed. And I think that feels really good. It's a good, another good aspect of bonding, on court and off court.
That's awesome. I love that. Coach Brown, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah. Great catching up. It'd been too long.
I know it's been way too long. And I've got a couple of studs that I'm definitely going to be sending your way soon. So,
I'll take great care. And
sure.
Yeah, I think the Kiwis, I think it's a nice fit here in Missoula for them. I think they feel at home right away. So yeah, I really look forward to working with you, until both of our hair turns gray. Mine's already kind of there, but
mine's getting gray. Look, can you see the sides there? I got another shade of gray because I had a girl that was meant to fly out to LA yesterday and the consulate didn't send her passport. So,
sorry.
Couple of coffees, man.
Always something. Get after it, my man.
Yeah, you have to. And also, guys that are watching this, go follow the University of Montana men's tennis team on Instagram, Facebook. Check out their website, see their schedule. Go on YouTube, see all the good stuff. They post a lot of content. And as Coach said, feel free to reach out to some of their players in their team. Our boy Milo Benn, shout out to Milo. He's a great, great young man, good role model for a lot of Kiwis that want to go over to the States. He's there and he's absolutely loving it. I think we might even get Milo on this, so it'll be great.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to hear what he has to say. That'd be amazing. Cool. So
hopefully he's still got that New Zealand accent.
He does. Yeah, I told him you're not allowed when you come here. You're not allowed to lose it. You got to stay true to wherever you can. So
yeah, cool. All right, I'll catch you later. Thanks, Jason.
All right, take care.